In 2007, I had taken a year off high school, and I just was looking for a place to go that would really serve what I wanted to do in life. And I guess I hadn't ever thought that you could go to the place of the Bible. I just didn't connect that this was an actual place for a really long time. And so I was looking around online and I found it, and I thought that would be a great place to go. I am here on a semester abroad program, and it's crafted to serve people like me who are just working in full-time ministry and needed to get out and to revamp and relearn some things and take a season afresh. And so my wife and I are here for the 3 months from August to December. And the classes that we're taking are physical settings of the Bible, which take us all over the land and teach us about mostly the Old Testament and why they did what they did. The second class that I'm taking is Biblical Hebrew, to learn Hebrew better. And the third class I'm taking is Rabbinical Thought and Literature, my favorite, which teaches us about the thought of rabbinical literature and how that was all compiled and what it even says and stuff like that. And so the heartbeat of the Jerusalem University College is to have an academic approach to the land of Israel and to the context of the Bible, and to show that it's a really real story, and it's that the Old Testament and the stories of God's people in God's land isn't this mythical allegory. It's a very practically written story that could have happened, and every day I learn more about that here. And so the heartbeat, that would be a major motivation, I think, of the academic environment here. It happens in an atmosphere of a family, and so I can't leave that out. It's not just an isolated, you go and have an independent study in Jerusalem, but as a unit, you all learn together. And so the heartbeat here, it seems more inclined to include people from all different walks of life that you're interacting with. And the school has a diverse group of people leading it as professors and academic advisors that aren't just Christian, like biased Christian people. And what you get with that in this environment is you get rabbis and you get Jewish experts teaching you about this land and the people. And what I've seen is, even in the classroom, very diverse conversations that are civil, a civil discourse with people that I would never have that conversation with before. Like, one of our classes is by a rabbi who is a professor across the valley, and he really opens up the class to be able to discuss differences between religion, and which has given me also a greater articulation and understanding about the culture of the people here, so that I'm able to be a lot more relevant and articulate to someone that before would probably just write me off as someone who has no clue what's going on in their life and their history. And so it's been huge for that. I think that's a really good thing here. So the discipleship at Jerusalem University College is easy to see because of the familial atmosphere of the school here. There isn't it's not a very cold academic environment like I've seen back in the States at times, where everyone's in their own bubble, their own cubicle, and not interacting with each other because they gotta get it done. And it's more so everybody eats Shabbat dinner together. We have a father over the school, that's the president, who leads us in blessings. And even last Friday, he touched the guy next to him and said, "This is my son, I'm doing the blessing over my son, and this is my daughter, I'm doing the blessing," and it was so beautiful. And because the classes aren't just freshmen and only freshmen or sophomore only, but you have MA students working right alongside of undergrad students, and they're different ages and different walks of life in different places from the world. You get a melting pot of life that causes a really easy avenue for followability and life-on-life learning. And so we have a professor taking us all over the country who's made himself approachable, he's made himself followable, and he's teaching us how to walk people through the same material rather than just to regurgitate answers for a test. And I feel like I'm a part of a group here that I have a place in, who there are people that might look up to me for conversation, and then there are people who I might look up to conversation, and we're all in the same room together. I mean, it's completely conducive for discipleship and a natural, holistic pattern of discipleship later also that you can just naturally do. I mean, it's a no-brainer. Supporting Jerusalem University College can be a win-win for a lot of people. For me, for example, I'm 25 years old and I've never been in an academic environment legitimately before, other than high school. And the local fellowship that I'm a part of looks to me as a teaching pastor and a utility pastor. And when we've come to a point 5 years down the road of ministry that we want to get away and have a season together, what do? How do we steward that time? And the pastor of our church came here for a semester of a sabbatical 2 years ago, and he came back thinking this was the greatest, the greatest thing since sliced bread. And so our church family has supported us to come here. So they've legitimately paid this school, you know, and supported the school monetarily, while at the same time the school equips me with things that I could never have gotten through the internet or commentaries, or through even, I couldn't get it in a classroom at home in the same way, and I believe that. And so it's a win-win for me. I go home and I've got just life change. I mean, I've been here before, but I mean, this school in particular is drilling you with a life-changing message and a story, and yet at the same time it's a fully sustainable academic environment. And so I feel privileged to be here, and I actually feel proud to pay to be here too, because I really like the ministry. So the classroom life at Jerusalem University College is unique because every class has a field study. Even some classes have weekly field studies, is what they call it here. And a field study is simply the class going out to the place that it's been talking about and learning about and experiencing it by seeing, hearing, feeling, and the environment. And so for physical settings of the Bible, we have 2 times a week where we sit in a classroom together. We draw maps, we color the maps, we learn about the type of rock and the agriculture of the place, and then on Sunday we take a field study and get on a bus and go to the place that we learn about that week. And we relearn everything in a really natural way by just opening our eyes and seeing what was black and white has now been turned into color. And so that to me is such a unique braid of life that I couldn't find in the States, because it's just not geographically possible to do that in the States. If you came to Israel every Sunday in the States, it wouldn't make sense. So I am in ministry because I feel inside of my heart that the DNA that I've been made up with has a passion to help people, to serve people, and really seek the good for my fellow humans. And I've stumbled into other different places where I thought that was actually happening. I was going to pursue being a police officer, for example, and it just wasn't happening. It wasn't happening to the extent that I felt needed to happen. And when I became a true follower of the Lord and started reading the scriptures and realizing that what He is like and who He is causes a deep desire to be near him, and he gives a very clear word about how to be near him and in the scriptures. That caused me to really want to share that message with other people and continue to help people figure out what that means for them in life. And so I became a pastor and a helper of the community, or whatever you want to call a local leader in a community, to that end, to use the scriptures to closely follow who the Lord is and how we can get close to him. And each story of the Bible really teaches us a good example of how to be close to him, or a good example of how not to be close to him, you know. And so I've been so entranced by the God of the Bible that when opportunity comes to come here, it's just like seeing the inside of my head on the outside of my head. I mean, you have this place that is been preserved, like someone took a picture of it thousands of years ago, and it's still here, you know. And it brings to life a lot of things, like Psalms that they're just describing the geography and around you, and you just get to open your eyes and experience the same thing. It, to me, just seems to coincide with who I am and who I've become with regards to ministering to people too. So yeah. This morning when I was praying and reading the Bible, I read Psalm 122 or 123, and I just felt like when I read that psalm, something awakened in my heart of something worth sharing, or worth at least describing about my experience here at this university and in this land. And it was a verse to the effect of, "As the mountains surround Jerusalem, so the Lord surrounds his people." And I just thought I could read about that and I could really believe that and believe that psalm. But to stand in the city of David and to see the mountains surrounding Jerusalem, it brings to life so many emotions and truth, and it teaches me about God in a way that I wouldn't trade it. And I know him like that now, and I really trust him to be that and believe that. I see what David was talking about, and to be in the place where he wrote it and to just see what he was seeing, that's something that I think is worth sharing. That can really be experienced again, and so people should come to this school.